Another gem for Eric Kallgren. Kallgren. What? Apparently it's Kallgren. But everyone's saying Kallgren. It's too late. What do you mean it's too late? Just change it. No. You gotta get on this stuff right away. I don't get it. Dude, if the first pronunciation you hear of a player is wrong, they're stuck with it forever. Caberlet. Kuhlman. All right, well, I called him Kallgren, and that was wrong, so I called him Kallgren, and apparently that's wrong, so I'm calling him Kallgren. And who told you it was Kallgren? The Swedes. Oh, we do like the Swedes. I think he's Kallgren now. See, but no one else is gonna call him that, and you're gonna be the weirdo. I've never had a problem being the weirdo. Fair. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, it's a little ridiculous. Good boy. Play all the hits. Left the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let me finish. How am I supposed to go to bed after watching that? I'm quite hyped. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Leafs win 3-1.5. We'll say it's 3-2, but no. Carolina scores with under 4 seconds to go, and they actually set up for the faceoff at center ice. Like, oh yeah, we're about to bomb a one-timer. Like, I appreciate that you're trying, but come on. No one has ever scored with that amount of time left. That would be some sort of record. Well, it was against the Leafs. All right, well, fair play. Leafs won anyway. Eric Kallgren. We're gonna stick with Kallgren. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be stubborn. He won! Dude, as big a win as the Leafs have had all season. I talked about this on the podcast. What did the Leafs have heading into the deadline? First game Kallgren plays is against the Dallas Stars. Now, they're not the most offensively minded team, but they're pretty good. They're hunting for a playoff spot, and they're hungry. He wins. 35 save shutout. Worth mentioning, without Matthews. And then the next game, also without Matthews, against the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't care if you're the most optimistic Leaf fan in the world, you went into this game going, oh dear. And also, the Leafs given up 35 shots against the Dallas Stars. I don't like that number. And so in this game, the Leafs went, we know what's wrong with 35. It's not an even number. And they made it 36. And they still won because Kallgren stopped 34 of them. You have to admit, Frederik Andersen coming to Toronto and losing to a goalie that most Leaf fans had not heard of before a week ago, it's kind of funny. Nothing against Freddie. It's kind of funny. Carolina Hurricanes fans, you have to understand. It's not Leaf fans being salty against Freddie. It's the fact that you've kind of had the upper hand of this little thing for all season. Just chilling in the standings with Freddie as one of the winningest goalies in the NHL. Just like, hey, thanks for this guy. Thanks for giving him up for, what was it? Oh, free. So forgive us if we think him getting beaten by a non-smiling Swedish automaton in Eric Kallgren is hilarious. Let's talk about this game. So, Carolina, the numberiest of the number teams. Oh, did they outnumber the Leafs? The Hurricanes outshot the Toronto Maple Leafs 36-21 in this game, and it looked like it all night. It looked like the Hurricanes had the puck way more, and they definitely generated more shots. The only beef I have with the 36-21 is the 21 shots for the Leafs seems to imply they weren't able to get anything going, and I don't think that's true. The Leafs were sniffing all night, and they were like, ooh, like almost catching the Hurricanes on a bunch of opportunities, long stretch passes. Gotta give the Hurricanes credit. What a defensive team. That's why this was such an unbelievable test for the Leafs, and it's so unbelievable that they won! By the way, before we get into the goals, it bears repeating, they won! Woo! Just over 4 minutes remaining in the first period. The shots are 12-3 for the Hurricanes, and shot attempts are 21-9. This play is all Ilya Mikheyev, fighting for the puck along the boards, and he comes out with it, and he gets on his horse. Let's go! Hands it off to Justin Hall, who hands it right back, and he fans on a backhand, and it works? I didn't see that coming. Because you never see the culprit coming. Listen, we don't have to microanalyze everything Frederik Andersen does, but this goal kind of stinks. Like, I'm not just saying that because it's Mikheyev. He does, like, this isn't a good backhander. I'm positive this didn't even go where Mikheyev wanted it to go, except for the part where it went in the net. Freddie doesn't read the shot. He appears to think that Mikheyev is going for a pass to David Kampf, and this is where I let Freddie off the hook a little bit, because the Hurricanes didn't make many defensive mistakes tonight, but they did on all 3 goals. Why would Freddie think that David Kampf was going to get that pass? Because the Hurricanes let him creep in all the way past them to the point where this is sort of a modified late 2-on-1. Freddie can't fully commit to Mikheyev because there's an open man right there. Comes off his post. I still don't love it, but I understand it. 1-0 Leafs. Leaf fans, my goodness, who did not feel blessed. Like, absolutely blessed to be leading 1-0 after 1, despite getting completely outclassed. Woo! We got out of that one. First few seconds of the second period, it's like the Leafs immediately tried to give it back. You know how we've been saying nice things about Pierre Engvall lately? Well, he must have heard us because he's like, let's change that. Completely gives it away. Jordan Stahl throws it in front. Brady Shea by the outstretched pad of Eric Kallgren. All right, there's let me check. 39 and a half minutes to go in regulation. Let's perhaps not make him do that all night. Like, forget Kallgren for a second. Here's what the Leafs need. They don't necessarily need November Jack Campbell. It's unreasonable to expect November Jack Campbell because November Jack Campbell was ridiculous. It's rare that goaltenders are November Jack Campbell. But we also don't want, like, January, February Jack Campbell. We definitely don't want March Peter Mrazek. Here's what you need. Not greedy. This is just what you need. Don't let in any dumb ones. Give your team one or two saves that they don't really deserve. That one? That one right there? That's a save the Leafs don't really deserve. I don't know what everybody gets one is in Swedish, but I'm sure Kallgren muttered it under his breath after that save. Now, that goes in. Oh, the Hurricanes are built on adrenaline. After a period where they outclass the Leafs, but the Leafs escape with the lead like bandits, they erase it right away to begin the second. That could have dictated the energy for the rest of the game, and the Hurricanes could have ran away with the thing. Instead, the crowd is getting into it more and more, and the players are starting to understand, oh, this guy's got us. And only a few minutes later, Timothy Kallgren, with the puck behind the net. He's got 5 points in his last 6 games. What's he gonna do with it? He's gonna fire a rocket up the ice to Mitch Marner, who is flying! It's deflected just enough by John Tavares to throw the Hurricanes off. Jacob Slavin caught flat-footed. Marner blows right by him, and Slavin can only smack his stick on the ice, which is an outburst for him. Like, say goodbye to the Lady Bing there, Jacob. Marner flies in. Once again, it's a 2-on-1. He's got Bunting with him. Snipe! Can we look at the Sally? We gotta look at the Sally. Look at that Sally! How many St. Pat's jerseys did this goal sell? Look at that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You're beautiful. And Hurricanes, good defensive performance, but don't make me tap the sign. That's not a partial 2-on-1. That is a straight up 2-on-1. Now, I'm not going to say this as a major criticism of Freddie Anderson, but I seem to remember with the Leafs, he really struggled with these. The bigger struggle is the Leafs gave up like 5 or 6 a game, and every now and then he would bust out an unbelievable save, probably far too often than can be reasonably expected of a goalie. But he didn't have the greatest track record with 2-on-1s, if I remember correct. Maybe I don't. Does anyone keep a stat on that? Kallgren with an assist on that play, now 6 assists in his last 7 games. The extraordinarily not slumping John Tavares with a primary point. And Mitch Marner with his 24th silently pursuing that path to 30. And despite the fact that the Leafs were only able to get 6 shots in the second period, they were able to hold the Hurricanes to a much more tame 8 instead of the 14 they allowed in the first. And the Leafs, again, like bandits, head into the third period with the 2-0 lead. And now we get to see Eric Kallgren do something real interesting. Defend a multi-goal lead in the third period for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Should be fun. Now, in this third period, a bad thing happens, and watch me spin it into a good thing. Because this might alarm you, but Kallgren allowed a goal. I know, I didn't think it was possible either. Ilya Lyubushkin, who is growing on me by the day, by the way, blocks a shot, and it's a good block. Unfortunately, after the block, the puck lands right on Ethan Bear's stick, and that is to the credit of Ethan Bear for being so aggressive. By that point, Kallgren has already gone down because he was preparing for the shot if Lyubushkin wasn't able to block it. Bear's able to put it through him and in. And now, with just under 16 minutes left on the clock, let's see how you defend a 1-goal third period lead for the Leafs. Here's how I spin it as a good thing. First of all, we're going to need to see if that's a thing he can do if he's going to be a goalie here. Also, this is, finally, an opportunity to see how Kallgren bounces back from allowing a goal. Because last game, he didn't allow one. He got a shutout. And in his NHL debut, coming in relief for Peter Mrazek, he allowed the OT winner, so we didn't get to see him afterwards. Because you never know, some goalies wilt in that situation. Kallgren, very didn't. And it helps that the pressure of the 1-goal lead only hung around for about 3 minutes. Just over halfway through the third, the Leafs doing a great job of being annoying and not letting the Hurricanes break out. Kerfoot's in the offensive zone, taking away time and space from the Hurricanes. They go to break it out, and it's intercepted in the neutral zone by Ondrej Kase. In comes flying William Nylander. Kase to Kerfoot to the flying Nylander. And again, the Hurricanes' good defensive team. That is another goal on a 2 2-on-1! Again, I'm not going to say 2-on-1s are Freddie's weakness because, what goalie excels at that? Any goalie is going to allow more goals on 2-on-1s than not 2-on-1s, but there's the third one of the game. And the Hurricanes doing Freddie no favors because shortly after they end up on the power play and they give up another 2-on-1 that the Leafs almost score on. Oh, and I think I got ahead of myself. I probably should have mentioned that Willie passed it to Kasha and he bangs it in! Wasting time talking about the 2-on-1s they didn't score on. They scored on that one! And it was 3-1. Again, all eyes on Kallgren. The Leafs doing a good job of adding pressure to the Hurricane situation and not making Kallgren do all the work. Tavares almost sunned the entire team. Engvall this close to making it 4-1, which, I don't know, because of, years of emotional scars from the Leafs is perhaps a good thing. Kallgren's like, what? Don't worry, buddy. It's a story for another time. Final minutes now. The Hurricanes pull Frederik Andersen for what felt like 45 minutes. They weren't able to solve Kallgren until less than 4 seconds to go in the game. He's doing the snow angel thing, and at that point, as a defender, it's your job. It's your problem. The Leafs win, and that is a ridiculous 2 points. So what do? Beat the Hungry Stars team, shut them out, overachieved, went above and beyond. I would have been happy if Kallgren played well and the Leafs lost in this game, but he won. And now the third game and final game before the trade deadline, the bright lights of Saturday night, Leafs take on the Nashville Predators. If Kallgren gets completely shelled and gives up 5 or 6 on Saturday night, Dubas might be a busy bee come Sunday and Monday. If Kallgren plays fine, they don't even have to win. Even if he gives the Leafs a chance to win, I think you can scratch that off the list, Kyle. Heck of a decision. Heck of a win. Questions. Start, bench, cut. Campbell, Mrazek, Kallgren. Should be easy enough. Yes, it is easy enough. Cut Peter Mrazek. I am sorry. I honestly, if he's still in a Leaf uniform next year, we can all assume he's going to be better than 880. There's no evidence throughout his NHL career. There's an abundance of evidence throughout his NHL career that he is a weird goalie. There is no evidence that he is this bad. There's evidence he can struggle, but not this bad. Bench? I'm going to say Erik Kallgren. And you're going to be outraged by that because you've only ever seen him give up 3 NHL goals, and I am here to tell you he has started 2 NHL games. Ask me again in a couple of weeks and I might change my answer, but for now, bench, start the guy who was in the All-Star game and the guy who's your starting goalie, Jack Campbell. Listen, the trade deadline is real close. The end of April? It's kind of far. Kallgren has now passed both Pogge and Riddick in all-time wins as a Leaf. That makes me sad. Thank you for that. How comfortable would you be with a Campbell/Wool/Kallgren Kallgren combo next year versus Campbell and Mrazek, seeing that Mrazek's posts are in the witness protection program? Yeah, by the way, to add to the Leafs' complicated goalie situation, Joseph Woll, who played in some games for the Leafs this season, won some games, got a shutout in one of those games. He went down with an injury in today's Marlies game. Whoop-dee-dee. The Leafs do have Michael Hutchinson. They also have Carter Hutton, and I would like it very much if neither of them had to play games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The correct answer is it's way too early to make a decision here. It's way too early. But I mean, you definitely try real hard to move that Mrazek contract, and honestly, enough teams are looking for goaltending. I think the Leafs will be able to do it still. It's just not going to be as easy as it looked like a couple months ago. I could see the Leafs going with Campbell, Kallgren in theory, but we haven't seen enough from Kallgren yet, and that's not his fault. It's just, I don't know. You can only play the games that are scheduled, and before the trade deadline, they only have 3. Obvious question marks with Jack Campbell potentially re-signing or leaving. The Leafs have some really interesting names in net for the future. Kallgren is one of them. Wool is one of them. Artur Akhtumov. Vyacheslav Peksa is in there. Keith Petruzzelli is a really interesting prospect, and he's not even on an NHL deal. A lot of people talking about Josh Hosang getting an NHL deal, and maybe he'll get one, but I want to see Petruzzelli. Canes fan once again. Do you plan on growing out a playoff beard this year? I have one, and it feels amazing. Jared, I don't know how to tell you this, but I always plan on growing a playoff beard. It's just the Leafs sort of go, oh, can we interest you in 2 weeks of playoff stubble instead? And that is what I get. And the last time the Leafs won a playoff series, I was 16, and I wasn't really growing beards at 16. And lastly, I was going to leave this alone, but I saw enough of Leafs Twitter talking about it. Wayne Simmonds, according to Cap Friendly Transactions, which is a helpful Twitter account to follow, he was placed on non-roster for the Leafs, which raised a lot of eyebrows. Earl Schwartz, once again a must follow, he's almost at 5,000 follows, tweeted this: players can be placed on non-roster after clearing waivers. That's not what's happening here. Non-roster is also available for personal leave, such as the birth of a child or attending a funeral. I think it's important not to speculate at this time what that could be. And Earl is absolutely right. I know it's the trade deadline coming up. It's on Monday. Everyone's very excited about that. It's exciting times. Don't bother with that stuff. Let people be. It's the NHL. If a player's traded, they won't keep it a secret. So, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends we're recording a brand new Steve Dangle podcast tomorrow. And brand new Chris Johnston show went up today. You are not going to want to miss that. Frank Saravalli was on the last episode of Agent Provocateur. You're going to want to check that out on SDPN. And special trade deadline edition of the Chris Johnston show going up Sunday. Big tings.